So it's been a long few months, but finally the Eurovision Song Contest grand final is nearly upon us. 25 songs will be competing to take Måneskin's crown, but which one of them will do it? We're going to make our little predictions in this video. Let's review Eurovision. So it's been two interesting shows in good old Torino so far. Emily, what do you think of them? Any big shocks from the semi-finals?
I think there's been quite a few shocks, actually. Obviously last night, the second semi-final, not seeing kind of Israel get through, I think was probably, and seeing Romania go through over Israel out of the kind of two most camp songs, I think was probably the biggest surprise for me. I was very sad not to see San Marino get through, but that was just a personal one, and I don't think we were kind of I don't think that one had too much. I don't think it was likely to qualify. It's not a big surprise, but not seeing a pink booking Bronco in the final is always going to be a bit of a loss. And for me, the other one that I felt a bit kind of sad about was Ireland not getting through. But yeah, those are the ones from kind of last night. What did you make of Tuesday's one?
Tuesday's one, I thought, well, generally, I think the two semi-finals were a bit disappointing. Generally, I think Italy's production of the whole shows has been a bit of a letdown. The hosts have been a bit shouty. The graphics.
The hosting has not been top notch so far.
It's not really, especially because the Dutch smashed it last year. I think that the bar was quite high, and whereas the Dutch made every decision right, I feel like every Italian decision has been wrong. So it's been a bit underwhelming generally, and a lot of the songs that I thought were going to do well have come up a bit short on the staging, and then ones that I wasn't that sure about have ended up doing quite well. So in the first semi-final, I broadly I think it was all right. I'm a bit sad about Denmark. They really stood out to me. It was colourful, it was bright, it was flashy, and I thought actually that would have gone through. But yeah, that first it was all right. And then last night in the second semi-final, Ireland again, I completely robbed. I voted for that one because I thought it was by far the biggest improvement of the whole two shows, from radio track to the live performance. That was it's quite interesting. They did kind of like an analysis of which songs did best in the arena, and I think Ireland was number 3 or 2 or 3, and it was like that goes to show there was clearly a lot of support for it there on the night, but just not so much at home or with the jury, sadly. And she sang it well, so I'm surprised she didn't get any jury respect. I think back from the first semi-final as well, Albania as well. It's not a huge surprise they didn't qualify because it did fall a little bit flat. It's one of the song deserved to go through, but I think the performance was a bit over the top, and it didn't quite hit. So I'm not a huge surprise. It's a bit sad that they're not going to be in there, but broadly speaking, it's an all right lineup in the final. It's not necessarily the 25 songs I would have picked, but there's some strong ones in there, definitely. Well, talking of the final, the running order is now out. 25 songs competing. Obviously, we already knew Italy was going to go song number 9. Opening the show will be the Czech Republic. Romania, another upbeat one going afterwards. And then it is a run of the songs that maybe didn't do all that well in the semi-finals. What do you think about the Czech Republic opening?
I think that's definitely a good shout to have such a kind of party feel song opening the show. I think either that or Romania could have opened the show, actually. So I think kind of having those two to kick everything off is probably quite a good shout. So yeah, I mean, obviously going first half is kind of putting yourself at a disadvantage anyway. So I think it's probably the best place that the Czech Republic could have hoped for. I think the second half of the final, there's probably a lot more to kind of analyze in the running order there, because you have kind of Australia, the UK, and Poland, the kind of 3 best male vocalists, all going back to back. So kind of what that does for our boy Sam, I'm not too sure. And I also think Estonia closing is a strange one, which makes me think it possibly did better in the semi-final than maybe we thought it had. But yeah, all in all, I'm kind of fairly happy with the running order. I think it's going to be a solid show.
Yeah, I think the real winner from it is Ukraine. Ukraine is the last of a run of 4 songs that are just incredibly good. You've got Italy, then Spain, then the Netherlands, then Ukraine, which is just insane that they've been put back to back. I don't quite understand it, and I feel really bad in those for the Netherlands, because I imagine it did quite well in the semi-final. It either did really quite well or not very well at all. And I think it probably did. I'm guessing it probably did a bit better. But it's if you're between the boomness of Spain and then the big favorite of Ukraine, whatever was going to be in between that was going to struggle. And I think the Netherlands is the real victim. Ukraine is then followed by one of the most boring run of songs in a final I think we've ever seen. I mean, it's like Lithuania, then Azerbaijan, then Belgium's in there. How the hell Belgium qualified? I don't know. Greece, which I quite like, but it keeps the vibe. And then Iceland, and then it picks up again with Moldova. So Moldova's probably going to win the whole damn thing because it's a real energy pickup. So it's a strange running order, but Moldova have benefited by being the only upbeat song in the second half. And I think Sweden and the UK have got good places.
It's strange, but I think that's because there's so many ballads this year that there's almost kind of no way to break them up because there's so many of them. So there's going to have to be, a streak of maybe 2 or 3 songs in a row that are going to be quite kind of slow pace. So yeah, I think by the type of song that they had, there actually wasn't probably that much that they could have done with the running order.
Yeah, I think as you say, it was a bit of a strange one to put Estonia last, but it's the closest thing to another upbeat one that we've got. I mean, the UK could have gone last, but it's always the past few years, other than Il Volo, pretty much every year the song that performs last doesn't do that well. Il Volo is very much the exception to the rule, so I feel like it would have been a bit of a risk putting the UK last, considering it is one of the favourites. So maybe Estonia is the sacrificial lamb. Serbia probably did quite well as well because they're going second to last, but that'll be an interesting end of the show. Let's then give we're here for predictions, of course. Let's first predict what we think is going to come last. Let's start negative. 25 songs, only one of them can win. One of them's got to come last. What do you think is going to be our last placer?
I think our last placer, I think our main fatality is probably going to be Germany. I'd have thought. Potentially Belgium, but the fact that it got through the semis makes me wonder kind of where it picked up votes and if it's going to pick those up again. I think the problem with the big five not competing in the semis is that you don't kind of gauge how popular they are. I mean, the fact that all the other countries have kind of worked to get there makes me think that but I think Germany is probably the best bet for coming last, and then maybe second last Belgium. What about you?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think Belgium might actually surprise. I mean, again, I don't know how it got through the semi-final. I certainly wouldn't, but I imagine it got through on jury support. So I think it'll do all right with the juries enough to it'll be bottom 5, but I don't quite see it coming last. I think Germany is a good shout for last. Because I did on TikTok, Eurovision on TikTok did like a snippet, like 2 or 3 seconds of every single song in the running order. And after Italy, Spain, the Netherlands and Ukraine, then hit Germany, and it was the biggest lead balloon ever. I mean, it was and it was just, it really, really sunk, and it did not stand out in any way. And I think that if within the space of a whole show, that feeling's only going to be made more intense. So I think Germany is a good contender for last. I think as well, Romania could be down there. I don't quite see anybody really remembering it all that much. You've got diaspora and things like that, but I mean, I don't quite see that performing that well. And I think Portugal actually could be quite a surprise low finisher, just because it comes after 2 upbeat songs, and then there's a rock song immediately afterwards, and it just sort of, I can see people just skipping over it, unfortunately. So I think Germany's the most likely last placer, but Portugal and Romania are around there as well, possibly.
Probably Iceland, I think, will be down there because that was one of the shock qualifiers of the first semi-final, I think, as well.
Yeah, and that'll be at the end of the run of slow songs as well. So it's by that point, I think people will be quite.
When everyone's asleep.
People will be a bit brain dead at the end of that. So Iceland's another contender as well. I mean, we'll see. There's a few that could end up down there. What I do anticipate, though, and we'll get onto this now, I think a few countries are going to hoover up all the points. It's going to be like a 2015 sort of scenario where only 10 countries really get any points, and then everybody else gets nothing. So we're going to get some really high scores because it's so top heavy, and there are only a few songs that are actually worth voting for.
I think especially in terms of jury points, there's only kind of quite a few songs that I see getting the 12, 10, 9 points. So it's kind of I think there's definitely going to be a clump at the top and then a clump at the bottom. Just hoping that Sam is in the clump at the top.
Hopefully, I think it will be. So, what do you think it will? We'll get on to our final predictions at the very end. Obviously, what do you think it will do very well with the juries? What do you think could be the jury winner this year?
I think. Well, I think the jury winner is going to be Ukraine. I think the top ones with the juries, I think, could be the UK and Sweden as well. Should be doing.
Hang on, sorry. You think the jury winner will be Ukraine?
Yeah.
You think Ukraine will win the juries? Really?
I thought I think I could.
I'm not sure. I think I'll be very disappointed if it is, because it's not the type of thing they'd ever go for before, and it would be.
If it's not them, I think it could be Sweden. I would like to see the UK in the top 5 for the jury.
Yeah, I think top 5 for the juries is possible. I think Sweden, for me, is the most likely jury winner, but it could also be. I think Switzerland could maybe do very well.
Yeah,
Australia,
like whichever ballad hits the best on the night. Australia, yeah, it could be one of them. They do love a ballad, our juries. They really do.
But there's a lot of them this year, so it might dilute the points. And I think what was the one that I thought we could do quite well as well? Greece as well, another ballad. But I wouldn't count out Spain. If Fuego came 5th with the juries, Spain, I'm not saying it's a jury winner, but Spain might actually surprise with the juries a little bit.
Yeah, the only thing that I had with Spain that the juries might not like as much, but the thing that the public will go wild for is the long kind of dance sequence in the middle. Is that whether juries will just think, well, this is a song contest.
Yeah.
Whether juries will get kind of all juryish on it, and whether that'll kind of make it lose points. And providing her vocals kind of, because I think the slight issue with Fuego was that although the vocals were fierce, they maybe were a little bit breathy because there was so much choreography. And I worry that slow-mo might have the same kind of issue there. But yeah, I think there's every opportunity that Spain will do really well with the juries as well.
Yeah, I think I was talking to you about this last night, and I said, like, slow-mo is Fuego level good. And on reflection, I don't think it's quite as good, because now
nothing clever. Even if something is better, we can't ever admit that, because we're in TV. We stand it too much. We cannot ever accept that something. But
also because now there is the backing vocal allowed. You are allowed it. Fuego was all live, and this is occasionally she drops out for a couple of seconds, and then it's backing vocals that pick it up. So it's very well choreographed between the choreography and the singing, and that's very, very well done. But in terms of pure spectacle, Fuego was more impressive because she got through it, and her backing dancers all did it live, and that's not. So it's very, very close. It's not quite Fuego, but it's very, very close. In terms of televote, then, I mean, this is not going to be a big surprise. Ukraine is going to walk it. It's going to be a landslide, probably 400 points, I'm thinking. What could also do well in the televote then? Because, I mean, yeah, it's a foregone conclusion that Ukraine's going to win it. It's just a question of by how much. Yeah. What else could do well?
I think Spain is going to smash the televote. I think probably, I mean, we've not even mentioned Italy. Italy could also be a potential jury winner as well, I think.
I don't. The Mahmoud's high notes in the performance, the semi-final performance that was released, were incredibly dodgy, like cringe level dodgy.
Interesting.
It was really, though, his vocal, the rest of it was okay. When they were at a lower register, it was fine. Those high notes, they were not good.
Well, yeah, I mean, I hadn't watched their full semi-final performance, actually, so I hadn't picked up on that.
Yeah, it gets worse towards the end, so watch the full thing and you'll see.
Interesting. So yeah, maybe on that basis then they won't, but I think they're going to be a strong contender in the televote. I think Greece.
They always are. Greece. I don't think Greece is going to do that well in the televote. I think it's going to.
I mean, I think we can safely say that the UK, that is probably where we're going to lose out in the televote, because we don't tend to do so well in the televote.
Not well. I think 100 points with the televote is solid. I think it really, really is. And I think if we can say we've picked up 100. Success, I think. I don't see the UK winning. A lot of people are increasingly, a lot of these Eurovision fan websites and in the comments, a lot of people are saying the UK could win it. I still, unfortunately, don't see it winning. I can see it top 5
I would like to. And I almost think in a different year, it would be a strong contender to win. If we'd had a streak of kind of doing slightly better for a few years, I could see it winning. I think because with Ukraine and because of how terribly we did last year, I sadly don't think this is Sam's year, but I can hope. I can still
Yeah,
hope.
it's definitely the Anouk moment for the Netherlands. You know, she took it on. She took a risk. The Netherlands had not qualified for like 9 years or something. She took a risk and ended up coming ninth. And I think that is what's going to happen this year. I think he's going to end up in the top 10. He'll be unjust if he isn't. And as long as it gives the BBC and the rest of the UK delegation a kick up the backside and see that actually, if we do put an effort, we can succeed. That's a success. I don't think, I think over 100 points in the Televote will be a success for them. For me, Spain and Italy are going to do well in the Televote. I agree with you on that. I think Moldova as well is going to do well because they're the bookend to a really slow set of songs. Norway as well, they're going to do well, and we've not really talked about Norway that much because that could be like a Kano sort of moment. It's not going to do as well, but it's not going to do well with the juries at all, but it's going to storm the Televote, I think. So there's a few Televote options, but I think Ukraine is certainly going to landslide that. Overall, then, we'll wrap this up. What do you think is the winner of the Eurovision Song Contest 2022?
I mean, I don't think it's any surprise that my money is on Ukraine to win. Yeah, I can't really see a scenario where it doesn't, essentially. But yeah, I mean, yeah, if you just look at the bookies, like the odd, even though the UK is second, there's a massive miles of difference between, Ukraine's chances versus everyone else. So I think, yeah, there'd have to be I think even like a massive staging cock up wouldn't stop them in that path. But yeah, that's what I reckon. What do you make?
Yeah, it's the same. It's a shame. Eurovision's not good, never that fun when it's a foregone conclusion. And it's happened a few times before, but this is, I think, the most foregone conclusion of them all. And I think it's really disappointing because I understand why people want to back it. And obviously, with what's happening in Ukraine, any show of support is a valid one, but this is not going to help anything. If you want to help the people of Ukraine, a volunteer. Send all your old clothes to refugees, donate money, stop buying Russian products, that sort of thing. This is not gonna stop the war. And it is a Eurovision Song Contest. It's a competition. And I don't think at any point in Eurovision history has a song almost won by default. And I think that's quite a worrying precedent to set. Not only is that a bad precedent to set, but I think this is not I don't think it's a good song. I've settled on it. I really don't think this is Eurovision winning worthy by any means. I don't even think it's really top 10 worthy. I wouldn't put it in there. If Cyprus sent this, if Armenia sent this, if Switzerland sent this, would it win? Of course it wouldn't. It's winning because it's from Ukraine. And that is a bad precedent to be setting. So I'm bracing myself to be furious when Ukraine actually wins this. Actually, let me just rephrase that. I'm preparing to be furious when that song wins, is what it is. I'm not sad that it's Ukraine that's going to win. I'm sad that that song is going to win because it's from Ukraine. That's the problem. And they've played some with the whole Alina Pash issue, the fact that they didn't even win the national final, and they sort of insinuated that she'd performed in Crimea and she couldn't prove or disprove otherwise. There's been some dirty tricks that have gone on to get them to Eurovision, and I think rewarding them with the Eurovision trophy is quite disappointing. So, and for my money, Ukraine is definitely going to win. The real winner is whoever comes second, because they've earned it. Anyway, have you got anything to add to that, Emily?
No, other than let the comments commence.
Yeah, I mean, fair. I've tried. Yeah,
no. I'll add my thoughts on what I think if Ukraine wins. I think sometimes, I know we say this is a contest, but politics has always been a part of that. And for me, it's not my personal winner, but it's not my, it's this song is still probably one of my kind of top 15. So I'm not overly mad if it does win. I see why you think, oh well, the best song should win, and it should in other circumstances. But I think one year when politics plays slightly more of a role, I'm not that fussed.
Fair enough. I mean, that's the thing. To reiterate what I said, I'm not upset that Ukraine is going to win. It's this song. It really is. This is I think the worst thing Ukraine have ever sent. And it's just a shame that it's going to do things that Annie Larak never did, that Verka Serduchka never did. That's what's disappointing to me. That not that it's Ukraine winning, but it's this
Shady
song.
Lady doesn't win. If Shady Lady didn't win, I mean,
no, but that's my point. That's my point. This is going to do something that song didn't, and
no,
Shady Lady was significantly better than this. Significantly better. Anyway, so that's what we think. It's going to be an interesting show in any case. Thank you very, very much for watching the channel over the past few weeks. Are we going to do a little debrief after the final at some point?
Oh, yeah, I think we should.
Let's do that. Well, we're not all done then with this channel, and we're going to be posting content. We're going to bring it back next year, of course, but we hope you enjoy this year's Eurovision final. Do let us know what you think in the comments. Obviously, be respectful. Even if you disagree with us on the Ukraine point, do be respectful, because it's a horrible situation. We're just voicing our opinions on it. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you after the final.